Leader of the Labour Group here on Cheshire West and Chester Council. We're here at the May Day event in Chester City Centre. Fantastic range of people come along today from trade unions and wider Labour movement, talking about what this government are doing in terms of the austerity agenda, real anger about how the cuts are hitting the most vulnerable hardest, a real willingness and effort to try and change things for the better. So come and listen to what some of the people have had to say today.
It's not about the burden of benefit. In 1979, unemployment benefit was 21% of the welfare state, of the cost. Now, in 2013, it's 11%. The dole queues are no smaller, but what has happened is we've had attack after attack after attack on the welfare state and on benefits. That's the reality. It's a government who are chasing it. The 1 million jobs that they say that they've created, again, it's garbage, it's part-time, it's agency, it's temporary contracts, and worst of all, we've got workfare. We've got to make sure as trade unionists that we don't accept jobs like that. We don't accept workfare in the factories, and if they bring them in, then we walk out.
We need to do this as a union, because if we don't, not only will our workers of today be affected, but those future generations who come to work in our industry will be coming in for lower rates of pay, with no pensions, etc.
Well, first of all, thanks all for coming today. It's a fantastic turnout here. I think it's been a long time since we've had an event like this on May Day in Chester, and I know we've had a number of demonstrations and activities over the last couple of years, and it does show that there is a real interest and anger at what this coalition government are doing. And that means anger that's put it forward in a positive way, not voting UKIP, not the anti-politics people, people with the snide undertones of prejudice and discrimination, a real opportunity to put forward alternatives for working people to what this government are doing. And people are right to be angry because we've got ever-rising living costs, wages are stagnating, we've got underemployment, people in jobs that don't pay a proper living wage, benefits cuts, and of course the ever-dooming spectre of unemployment. We've also got destruction of the legal aid system, cuts to welfare rights support at a time when it's needed more than ever. Of course, it's about 14,000 people are going to be paying council tax for the first time here in Cheshire West because of what this government have been doing, and our council is going to make those people pay the maximum of 25% when they could have paid for it another way. And of course, we have the hated bedroom tax, which you've heard some speakers talk about already. We've had demonstrations here in Chester, in Ellesmere Port and Northwich on the bedroom tax, and we know that there are about 4,000 people in this area who will be personally affected by the bedroom tax. If the council housed each one of those in the vacancies that come up in one and 2 bedroom properties, it would take 8 years for all those people to be housed. And that means no one else in the housing list and housing need would get accommodated. It just shows you that this system is completely wrong, it's perverse, and it is a tax because people have no option but to pay it. Everything this government does is about punishing the vulnerable. I've heard stories about people going 4 days without food, mothers unable to feed their kids, a man so ill he can't get off his couch for several days because of his disabilities, being classed as fit to work. These are basics in society: warmth, food and security, and this government are taking them away from people. And for what? It's in the name of an austerity programme that is not working. Osborne must be the only person left in this country who believes that austerity is the answer to our current woes. This is at the same time as corporation tax has been cut. I've no idea why they've done that, because most corporations, of course, don't bother paying tax nowadays. They're allowed to get away with it. And it means that this government and we as the public funders are subsidising employers to pay poverty wages when they don't pay into the system in the first place. What we need is a decent living wage for all people to enjoy, so that people aren't dependent on handouts to make a decent living. So I hope that we can see the living wage brought in Cheshire West. It isn't going to happen. It isn't going to happen with this council, though, because they don't value their workforce. They sacked all the workers, they reduced the terms and conditions. Some people have lost out for thousands of pounds because of cuts they've had to their income. And when they threaten to take them to a tribunal, they're told that money will be taken back off them. It's a council that's arrogant, it doesn't listen, and it's driven by ideology to privatise as many services as it can. At the moment, it is spending hundreds of thousands of pounds of public money preparing public services for privatisation. So that's an effective subsidy from this council to the private sector that is happening right now. There are constant restructurings going on at the authority, totally destabilising the workforce, and it's a council that is obsessed with PR and spin. It spends over £1 million a year on marketing and communications. Surely that can't be the priority at this time. £25,000 on tree wrapping. What an absolute disgrace. Yet they charge the local food bank £5,000 a year just to store their food. How can that possibly be right? It's totally wrong, and these are the priorities of this Tory council. A council that values its workforce so much that it has 200 employees on 0-hour contracts. It's got one of the highest numbers of staff earning over £50,000 a year, and has just put plans in place that pay another £1 million for another 20 extra managers for the privatisation agenda. It wastes £20 million on shiny new offices with plasma TVs, but at the same time cuts overtime rates for the lowest paid, closes libraries, and ignores public consultations time and time again. We had the scandal of special expenses, a council tax dodge, which means that rural Tory areas get a tax cut and urban Labour areas end up paying more for their public services. And they're not even very good at the things they claim to be good at. They talk about spending millions of pounds on the roads, but I see potholes everywhere. And we heard the other day about them putting double yellow lines outside a school that closed 4 years ago. Absolute incompetence. They signed a 14-year refuse contract, but we see they can't even get the bins collected properly. And the amount of litter on the streets is an absolute disgrace as a direct result of cuts to frontline services from this council. It doesn't even do democracy very well either. We hear about councillors not allowed to speak at meetings. They boot debates off the agenda and have a shocking record on FOI requests. The way they deal with challenge from councillors and members of the public, with abuse, personal insults, and the kind of arrogance only the Tories can manage. People are sick and tired of this council, and they're as sick and tired of this council as they are of this government. Elections for both will take place in 2015, and they can't come soon enough. I hope the Labour group will take control of this council in 2015, and I'm sure that we've got every chance to do so. And if we do, we'll have a more open, we'll have a more democratic, and we'll have a fairer council. So you believe in that, if you believe in what we're trying to do, if you believe that we can do better, don't sit at home, don't vote for UKIP, join us in the fight and deliver a Labour council in 2015. Thank you for your time.